So today we're going to talk about Saturn retrograde. Whenever Saturn goes retrograde, the internet gets filled with the same advice. Be patient, accept delay, karma is coming back. And honestly, you have probably heard all of that before. So in this video, I don't want to repeat what everyone else is saying. Instead, I want to explain why I think the Saturn retrograde is um, one of the most important turning point before we enter 2027, because there are a few things happening in the sky that completely changes the way I look at this transit. So Saturn will remain retrograde in Pisces from 27th of July until 11th of December, almost 4.5 months. And if you have been following Saturn's journey over the last couple of years, you will know that this isn't the beginning of a lesson, because Saturn has been transiting in the Pisces sign, and Pisces is the sign which is the last sign, which is the closing sign, which is the ending sign, also we call it. This is the review of a lesson. Saturn has already shown what you needed now. Uh, like more discipline, where your foundation was weak, where you were avoiding responsibilities, and where life demanded that you grow up. Now, Saturn is asking a very simple question: what have you done with everything I taught you when Saturn was in Pisces direct and is in Pisces? That's the biggest difference between Saturn moving direct and Saturn moving retrograde. When Saturn is direct, life keeps throwing situations at you. Your career changes, your relationship evolves, your responsibilities increases, and you are constantly reacting to what's happening around me. Sometimes we are so lost and we are so confused that we don't even know what is happening in our life. But when Saturn turns retrograde, the focus shifts. Instead of creating new situations, Saturn will make sure you look at the one that already exists in your life. It's almost like life presses the pause button for a moment and says, before we move to the next chapter, let's make sure uh, you haven't skipped any important lesson. That's what Saturn does. uh, I'll give you an example. It's like, think about you are renovating your house. From the outside, everything looks beautiful, fresh paint, nice furniture, perfect lighting. But before you build another floor, an engineer always checks the foundation of the house which is getting renovated or which is getting built. Not because he wants to delay the construction, but because if the foundation isn't strong, the entire building will eventually develop cracks. The foundation and the strength of the whole building will not be that strong. Saturn retrograde works exactly like that. It checks the foundation of your life before allowing you to build something really bigger. And trust me, Saturn is the karka for delay, but never the denial. Saturn never denies any kind of results. Now, here is where this transit becomes really interesting, and I honestly don't see enough people talking about it. Saturn is not working alone this time. That's a boon also, I can say. At the same time, Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, and for from Cancer, Jupiter is casting its ninth aspects directly onto Saturn. In Vedic astrology, Jupiter represents wisdom, higher knowledge, ethics, guidance, while Saturn represents your karma, discipline, and accountability of the things you have been doing. So, this retrograde isn't just about reviewing your mistakes, it's about understanding why those mistakes happened in the first place. Saturn will show you the consequences, Jupiter will show you the lessons. One planet asks you to become responsible, the other is helping you to become wiser. So, this is going to be a very interesting transit. That's a very different experience from Saturn retrograde. where Saturn is left to work on its own. But this time, Jupiter's support is there with Saturn. And don't forget the sign where all this is happening. Let's talk about Pisces. Pisces is the last sign of zodiac. Every time I think about Pisces, I think about ending, completion, and surrendering to the situations, which we think we can control. We cannot. Sometimes surrender is one of the best remedy you can do in your life. It's the sign where we let go of our old identities before a completely new chapter begins. Saturn knows that once it leaves Pisces and enters Aries, an entire new chapter is going to start for every one of us. That's why I believe this retrograde is the final audit of everything Saturn has been teaching us since it has entered Pisces. It's almost like, universe is saying, before we close this chapter, let's make sure you haven't missed anything which is important. uh, this is also why I don't want you to look at these 138 days as a period of fear, because whenever Saturn comes or retrogression happen or planet like Saturn, Rahu, Ketu comes into the picture, first thing everybody think is like, oh God, the fear comes in. I want you to look at them as a period of correction. Just a little mindset can change the entire perspective of how we see the things. Go back and read your goals. Finish the projects you have been postponing. Repair the relationship that still needs one honest conversation before the closure happens. Fix your daily routine. Strengthen your finances. Clean up the habits which are holding you back to grow in life. Because Saturn rewards people who takes responsibility before life forces them to you. One more thing that I think is important, since Saturn is the natural significator of karma, governments, institution, legal systems, and larger organization, also comes under the influence of Saturn. During this retrogression, don't be surprised if you see policies being reviewed by the government, delays in decisions, or discussions which were happening and delays are happening in that, all regulations being questioned, institution correcting mistakes which were made earlier. Saturn always prefers accountability over the speed, and retrograde period often brings unfinished work back onto table, which is actually, I feel, it is very important, and it's very much needed for every one of us. So instead of asking what bad things Saturn is going to do to me, I would suggest you ask completely different question. Which area of life is asking for a stronger foundation before the next chapter begins? Because Aries uh, is a sign of starting something new. And when Saturn is going into it, make sure you finish all your pending work and you enter. Then the results are going to be amazing, because that's exactly where your biggest growth is going to happen over the next 4.5 months. Now, let's understand how the Saturn retrograde in Pisces is going to affect each and every ascendant sign, because Saturn is going to review a different area of life for each one of us. So let's talk about Aries Ascendant. If you're an Aries Ascendant, Saturn is retrograding in your 12th house. And I want you to remember one word for the next 4.5 months, which is closure. This transit is less about starting something new and more about finishing what has been left incomplete. The 12th house is connected with ending, healing, foreign lands, sleep, spirituality, isolation, and your subconscious mind. So don't be surprised if life feels a little slower, or if you naturally start spending more time with yourself. Since Saturn entered Pisces, it has been quietly showing you where your energy has been lacking. Maybe you have been holding on to people who should have left your life long ago. Maybe you have been spending money without really thinking about where it is going. Maybe you have been carrying emotional baggages, guilt, or fear that have that have never been truly dealt with. You did not deal with those baggages and guilt and fear. It's the time for you to actually start dealing with those things. During this retrogression, Saturn is saying, let's clean up all this up before we move on to next chapter. This is also very important transit for your mental and emotional health. If you have been suppressing your emotions, avoiding difficult conversation, or constantly distracting yourself with work, it's time to stop that and review everything. Saturn won't let you keep doing that. Instead, you will be encouraged to slow down, reflect, and understand what really is happening inside you. Sometimes the biggest transformation does not happen when life gets busier, it happens when life becomes quite enough for you to hear yourself clearly. So, I would suggest you guys one thing. That pay attention to your mental health and emotional health, and if there are certain conversation which you have been putting under the rug, it's time to take out those conversation and have a closure. Now, here is what the retrograde, why this retrograde is going to be different, because Jupiter's aspect on the Saturn, it's the ninth aspect of the Jupiter. This is actually a blessing because Jupiter softened the Saturn's lesson with wisdom. So, wisdom is definitely going to be there, or you're going to get any kind of guidance which you actually need to have a closure. Instead of only showing you where you have gone wrong, it will also help you understand, how to make things right. You may receive guidance from a mentor or a family member or a spiritual practice you might suddenly start doing, or even through your own intuition. Pay attention to those moments where, because these moments will actually help you make the better decisions. And Pisces is the sign of sky, open sky. The more time you spend under the sky, looking at the stars, all the clouds, or, being in the rain, your actually thinking pattern, and you will start getting the ideas, you will start getting the guidance what you need. Sometimes let the nature guide you. For a practical point of view, this is a perfect time for you to review your expenses, organize your finances, improve your sleep, let go of unhealthy habits, and complete any unfinished work which is connected to foreign travel like visas or international opportunities which you are not paying attention to. If you have been thinking about meditation, therapy, journaling, or even sound healing, this transit will support you because Saturn wants you to build your inner strength, not just the outer success. My advice for Aries Ascendant is very simple. Don't fight the slow pace of the retrograde. Do not resist it. Use it wisely. Release what no longer serves you. Complete what you have left unfinished, and prepare yourself, because once Saturn enters Aries, the focus will completely shift onto you. The work you have to do behind the scene during these 138 days will become the foundation for the next 2.5 years of your life. So, all the best, Aries Ascendant, and pay close attention to your thoughts and mental state, and especially dreams also. You will get a lot of downloads in the dreams also. So, Taurus Ascendant. Saturn is retrograding in your 11th house, and this transit is going to make you think about your long term goals and reevaluate your friendship, your professional network, and even the dreams you have been working towards. The 11th house is known as the house of gains, income, achievements, social circles, and future ambition. So, this isn't a transit where Saturn is taking things away from you. Instead, it is asking a very important question. Are you actually chasing the right goal? or you simply chasing what everyone else thinks the success is according to them, not according to you? Ever since Saturn entered Pisces, you have probably realized that every friendship is not meant to last forever. Some people naturally drift away. Some relationship becomes distant, and you may have become very, very much, more selective about who you spend your time with. Saturn has been teaching you that your environment shapes your future. During this retrograde, you'll get final opportunity to review the people around you. And I would suggest you to ask one thing: who genuinely supports my growth and who only shows up when they need something from me? Saturn always value quality over quantity. This is also a powerful period to review your financial goals and source of income. The 11th house represents gains. But Saturn does not believe in shortcuts. If you have been building something patiently, whether it is your business, career, investment, or even your personal brand, this retrograde can help you strengthen that foundation. But if you have been chasing quick money or unrealistic expectations, Saturn will bring you back to the reality and ask you to create a more sustainable and stable plan. Now, here is what makes this retrograde different. Jupiter ninth aspect on Saturn. For you, Jupiter is sitting in the third house, which means the answer you are looking for may come through from learning, communicating, networking, short travels, or developing a new skills. This is an excellent time for you to invest in yourself, read more, learn something new, improve the way you communicate, and don't ignore opportunities to collaborate with the right people. One conversation during this retrograde could completely change the direction of your future. If you have been working on a project that was delayed or left unfinished, this is the perfect time for you to revisit it instead of starting 10 new things. I would suggest go back and check your plans. If you have habit like me writing, I have habit of writing everything. I note down even the smallest thing. I make my notes. So visit those notes or visit those projects or visit those goals. Saturn rewards consistency, not the constant change. So do not jump and hop and skip from one project to another project or one goal to another project. I will suggest just stick to it, because if you do not do that, Saturn is going to actually make sure that he holds you from the collar and he makes you do those things. You may also reconnect with old friends, uh, former colleagues, or professional contacts who can now play an important role in your journey. My advice to Taurus Ascendant is simple: do not measure success only by how much money you have been making or how many people know your name. Measure it whether you are building something that will still matter after 5 or 10 years from now. If you're Gemini Ascendant, Saturn is retrograding in your 10th house, and this is one of the most important transit for your career, reputation, public image. The 10th house is where you built your own legacy. It is the house of profession, authority, recognition, leadership, and responsibility that comes with success. So don't be surprised if over the next 138 days your attention is naturally shifts or shifting towards your work, your career direction, and the life you are building for yourself. So pay attention. Suddenly you might have urge that you have to focus on your work. Your focus was shifted and you're going to get really serious about your profession and your career. Even since Saturn has entered Pisces, you have probably felt that your career has demanded much more from you. Some of you may have taken on bigger responsibility without immediate rewards. Others may have questioned whether they have, they are the questions will be like, are we even in the right profession? Some of you may have changed jobs, started business, or realized that the career path you once wanted no longer excites you. Saturn has been testing the strength of your professional foundation, and now this retrograde is asking you to review everything you have built so far. This is not the time to quit just because progress you felt was slow or you did not see any kind of progress. Instead, you should ask yourself whether your current career. With your career current is aligning with your long term vision. Are your development towards your skills are the right skills you have been developing which will help your career in the future, or are you taking shortcuts? Are you avoiding responsibilities that actually can help you grow? Saturn does not care about overnight success. It cares about whether you are building something that can stand the test of the time. So this is going to be a wonderful time. Do not fear if you feel like, you're going back again and again and doing the things. That is Saturn, because it is going to make sure that the foundation is strong. Now, here is what makes this retrograde again very particularly powerful because of the Jupiter's ninth aspect. For you, Jupiter is sitting in the second house of the wealth, family, and values. This tells me that the career decision made during this retrograde will have direct impact on your financial future. Jupiter is reminding you not to chase the status alone. Build something that also creates stability, security, long term wealth. You may also receive valuable advice from a family member, mentor, or someone whose experience helps you make a better professional decision. So do not resist taking any kind of advice from your family members or mentor or somebody who is more experienced than you. If you have been waiting for recognition, a promotion, or appreciation, don't become discouraged if it feels delayed at this time. Saturn often delays these things, recognition, success, or promotion, but it rarely denies it when the work is genuine. Use this period to refine your skills, organize your work, complete pending projects, and strengthen your professional reputation. The effort you put now may not receive, immediate applause because it's the time period of 4.5 months, but it will create opportunities once Saturn moves directly. This transit can also bring unfinished professional matters back to your attention. An old client may reconnect with you. A previous job opportunity may return, or a project you thought was over can come back to you as a revision or to review it again. Instead of looking it as a setback, I would suggest that you see that thing, that project which is coming back to you, which you left, as an opportunity to improve the outcome of the future. My advice to Gemini Ascendant is don't measure your career only by your success today or where you are today. Measure it by the foundation you have been creating for the next decade. Saturn is preparing you for the greater responsibility, and Jupiter is making sure that that responsibility leads to meaningful growth. If you stay disciplined, keep learning, and remain committed to your long term goals, this retrograde can become one of the most productive career review period you have had in many years. So all the best, Gemini Ascendants. Let's talk about Cancer Ascendant. Saturn is retrograding in your ninth house, and this is going to make you question your beliefs, your life direction, and the meaning behind everything you have been working so hard for. The ninth house is not just about higher education or long distance travel, it is the house of dharma, wisdom, teachers, fathers, mentors, and spirituality, fortune, and the principle that guides your life. So this retrograde isn't simply asking, what are you doing? It is asking, why are you doing it? You should know why are you doing these things. Ever since Saturn entered Pisces, you have realized that some of your old belief no longer fits the person you are becoming. I'll give you my example only. From past few days, I have been questioning myself that I keep on chanting mantras. I do a lot of sadhanas. Suddenly that belief system is shifting to why not stop doing all those things and go within and start doing meditation. This is what my personal experience I'm sharing with you guys, because I'm a Cancer ascendant. So this is what I have been feeling. Maybe, you have changed your perspective on the religion, spirituality, or even your career. Some of you may have started studying something new, while others may have become more serious about finding a purpose instead of just chasing success. Saturn has been slowly reshaping your worldview. And now during this retrograde, it is asking you to pause and reflect before moving forward. And personally, I have been seeing these things manifesting in my life. This is also a very important period if you are planning higher education, international travel, immigration, publishing, legal matters, or anything connected with long term planning. If something gets delayed, do not assume it's a bad sign. Saturn is simply asking you to review the details, correct what have been overlooked, and make sure you are building your future on the solid foundation. Sometimes a delay today can save you from a much more bigger problem in the future, because Saturn's next transit is going to be in the Aries, and which is your career house, 10th house. So it is going to play a very important role. Whatever you are going to do right now is directly going to impact your career next year. So now here is the Jupiter aspect, which is the ninth aspect, which is coming on the Saturn. This is a beautiful combination because Jupiter is giving you clear clarity, while Saturn is giving you the discipline. You will find that the answers you are searching for don't always come from the outside. Like I said, that I have been meditating on frequencies, not doing any mantra chant, just observing my breath, because I do a lot of breathing techniques, and I teach also, and I practice also them while I'm conducting my sound healing sessions. So Jupiter is giving the clarity, while Saturn is giving you the discipline. You will find the answers you have been searching uh, for don't always comes from outside. Many of them will come from your own experience. Your own confidence will grow, your intuition will become stronger, and you will begin to understand which part truly aligns with your value. This is an excellent time to learn from your mentors, deepen your spiritual practices, or simply spend time expanding your knowledge. It's a beautiful time because even Jupiter is giving the ninth aspect, and it is coming into 159 trine is prominently getting activated for Cancer Ascendant. Uh, you will notice that you've been questioning your career, your purpose, or the direction you have taken in your life. Do not rush to make impulsive decisions. Instead, use this retrograde to gather information, learn new skill, refine your plans. Saturn wants commitment, not confusion. By the time it moves direct, you will have much more confidence in the choices you are making. Relationship with your father, mentor, or teachers may also come into focus. Old conversation may resurface, misunderstandings may finally be resolved, or someone from your past may re enter your life with an important lesson. So, pay close attention to these things. Stay open to the guidance because wisdom can come from unexpected places during this transit for Cancer Ascendant. My advice is don't be afraid to question your own beliefs, but Don't abandon them without understanding why they exist in the first place. Saturn is helping you, you know, replace your blind faith with the lived wisdom, while Jupiter is making sure that every lesson brings growth instead of fear. By the end of this retrograde, you won't just have more answers, you will have much more clear direction for the future. So, all the best, Cancer Ascendant. So let's start with Leo ascendant. Saturn is retrograding in your eighth house, and this is probably going to be one of the deepest and the most transformative transit you'll experience this year. The eighth house is not an easy house because it deals with changes, hidden matters, shared finances, taxes, loans, inheritance, intimacy, philosophical transformation, and everything that lies beneath the surface. This is the house where life asks you to let go of control and trust the process. So don't be surprised if over the next 138 days you find yourself confronting situations you have been avoiding for a very long time. Ever since Saturn entered Pisces, it has been teaching you that the real transformation does not happen overnight. Some of you may have had to deal with financial responsibilities like loans, insurance, taxes, or shared assets. Others may have gone through emotional changes that completely shifted the way you look at relationship, trusts, and values. Saturn has already shown you where your weak spots are. During this retrograde, it is asking you to revisit those areas and strengthen them before it moves to Aries, the ninth house for Leo Ascendant. This is a most powerful time to review your financial commitments. If you have outstanding loans, debts, investments, tax matters, or legal paperwork, don't ignore them. Saturn loves organization and organizing things and accountability. The more disciplined you are with your finances now, the fewer complications you will face later. If you have been, depending too much on someone else's resource or delaying important financial decisions, this retrograde is going to encourage you to take control. Now, let's talk about the ninth aspect of Jupiter, which is coming from the 12th house. This tells me that, many of the answers you're looking for will actually come through the introspection, spirituality, quiet reflection rather than external actions. Your intuitions may become much stronger during this period, and you may suddenly understand why certain events had to happen the way they did. If you have been carrying emotional pain, resentment, or fear from the past, this is an excellent time to work on healing because Jupiter is helping you find, the meanings in experiences that once felt difficult to understand. The eighth house is also about research, occult sciences, and hidden knowledge. So, if you are studying astrology, psychology, healing, meditation, or any subject that requires deep investment, this retrograde can help you make significant progress in those areas. You will find yourself going beneath the surface instead of accepting any simple answers. One thing I would ask you to be careful is your health and the stress levels right now. The eighth house often reminds us that the body stores emotional pressure. If you have been overworking, ignoring symptoms, or carrying stress without dealing with them, I would suggest please pay attention to your body and see if your body is telling you to slow down and revisit all the healthy options which you have been ignoring till now. Listen to those signs earlier instead of waiting until they becomes bigger problem. And next thing is the advice which I want to give Leo ascendant is, do not fear the change during this retrogression. The more willing you are to release the old fears, unhealthy achievement, attachments, and outdated patterns, the lighter you feel when Saturn finally moves forward. Sometimes the greatest blessings comes after you are willing to let go of what no longer belongs in our life. And that's exactly the lesson Saturn is going to trying to teach you for the next 138 days. So all the best, Leo ascendants. So let's talk about Virgo Ascendant. Saturn is retrograding in your seventh house. And over the next 138 days, your biggest lessons are going to revolve around relationship, partnerships, and commitment. The seventh house is not just about marriage, it is about also representing your business partners, clients, contracts, and the way you relate to other people. So if there is any relationship in your life that has been running on autopilot, Saturn is going to ask you slow down and honestly evaluate where it is heading. Ever since Saturn entered Pisces, you have probably realized that relationships require much more than emotions. They require maturity, responsibilities, communication, and consistency. Some of you may have experienced distance in relationships. Some may have become more serious about commitment, while others may have understood that not every relationship is meant to last forever. Saturn does not break relationships without a reason. It simply removes the ones that don't have a strong foundation and strength, the one that are built on honesty and mutual respect. During this retrograde, don't be surprised if old conversations come back, unresolved issues resurface, or you find yourself rethinking an important partnership. This isn't the time to make impulsive decisions. Instead, it is a time uh, to ask yourself whether the relationship is helping both of you grow, or whether you have been ignoring problems just to keep the peace. Sometimes one honest conversation during a Saturn retrograde can achieve more than months of avoiding the issues. Now, let's talk about Jupiter's ninth aspect, which is happening in your 11th house of gains, friendships, long term goals. This tells me that the right people will help you make the right decisions. Advice from an experienced friend, mentor, or even professional network could completely change the way you look at relationship or business partnership. Jupiter is also reminding you that healthy relationships should support your future, not pull you away from it. For those who are single, this isn't necessarily the best time to rush into a relationship just because you don't want to be alone. Saturn wants quality over speeding. If someone enters in your life now, they'll likely make you think seriously about commitment, compatibility, shared values rather than temporary attraction. If you are running a business, this is an excellent time to review your contracts, partnerships, and clients' relationships. Go back over agreements, clarify expectations, and fix anything that has been left unsolved. Saturn rewards people who build trust through consistency and integrity. My advice to Virgo Ascendant is simply don't ask whether the relationship makes you happy only in the moment. Ask whether it helps you build the life you truly want. Saturn is teaching you that lasting partnerships are built through responsibilities, patience, mutual efforts, while Jupiter is helping you attract the people who genuinely belongs in your future. So all the best to Virgo Ascendant. So let's talk about Libra Ascendant. Saturn is retrograding in your sixth house, and over the next 138 days, life is going to ask you to bring more discipline into your daily routine, your work environment, your health, and the responsibility you deal every single day. The sixth house is the house of service, employment, competition, debt, diseases, daily habits, overcoming obstacles. So don't look at this transit as a period of problem. Look at it as a period where Saturn helps you fix the areas of life that have been running without any kind of structure. Ever since Saturn entered Pisces, you have probably realized that success isn't built on motivation, it is built on consistency. Maybe you worked has increased, maybe your office responsibility have become heavier, or perhaps you have realized that your health needs more attention than you have been giving it. Saturn has already shown you, where your weak routines are. Now, during this retrograde, it's asking you to review them before moving forward. If you have been procrastinating, delaying important tasks, or taking shortcuts, this transit will make those habits impossible to ignore. So do not ignore them. This is one of the best period to improve your lifestyle, review your eating habits, your sleep schedule, your exercise routine, and even the way you manage your stress. Saturn rewards people who are willing to do the small things consistently. You don't need dramatic changes, you need sustainable habits. Remember, the sixth house is all about what you do every single day because your daily routine eventually becomes your destiny. Now, let's talk about the ninth aspect of Jupiter, which is uh, from casting from the 10th house of career and profession. This is a powerful combination because this discipline you built in your daily life will directly influence your professional growth. May many of you may receive additional responsibilities at work, but don't see them as burden. They could become the very reason your recognition in the future, which you might get by doing uh, and reviewing what you have been working on. Jupiter is reminding you that every small effort you make today is building your long term success. If you are dealing with legal matters, debts, or workplace conflict, this is a good time to review everything carefully instead of reacting emotionally. Saturn wants practical solution, not emotional decisions. Old issues at work may return. A previous project may need a revision, or you'll be asked to correct mistakes that those were overlooked earlier. Take your time and do it properly because Saturn appreciates quality more than the quantity. For those who are preparing for competitive exams, interviews, or professional certification, this retrograde can actually work in your favor. Instead of rushing ahead, use this period to review, strengthen your knowledge, and improve your preparation. Saturn loves repetition, practice, and mastery. My advice to Libra Ascendant is don't wait for life to become organized on its own because the person who creates order in the middle of the chaos, the habits you build, the discipline you develop, and the responsibility you honor during these next 138 days will become the foundation of your future success. Saturn is teaching you that greatness isn't created by one big decision. It is created by small choices you make every single day. So, all the best to Libra Ascendant. Let's talk about Scorpio Ascendant. Saturn retrograde is happening in your fifth house, and over the next 138 days, you are going to be asked to take a closer look at your creativity, your children, your education, your romance, or romantic life, and the risk you are taking. The fifth house is the house of intelligence, self expression, passion, speculation, and the things that brings joy in your life. Saturn does not take these things away, but it does work and ask a very important question. Are you building something that will last, or are you only chasing temporary excitements? This is not a transit to, chase temporary things or create temporary expressions or invest in temporary or short term goals. Ever since Saturn has entered Pisces, you have noticed that your creative project has have required much more patience than expected. Some of you may have experienced delays in love. Some may have taken on great responsibility towards their children, while others may have realized that success in creative work does not come from inspiration alone. It comes from consistency. Saturn has been teaching you to take your talent seriously, and during this retrograde, it is asking you to review everything you have been creating before you move to the next level. If you have been if you have been in a relationship, this is a good time to have honest conversation instead of avoiding difficult topics. If you are single, don't rush into relationships simply because you are feeling lonely or you just want to get into relationship. Saturn wants emotional maturity before it enters into a relationship, and it does not like emotional dependency. It wants you to build relationship that are based on trust, respect, and shared values rather than temporary attractions. Now, here is what makes this retrograde different, because the Jupiter's ninth aspect, which is happening from your ninth house of wisdom, higher learning, and fortune. This is a beautiful combination because your growth is going to come through learning. Whether it is studying astrology, psychology, a professional skill, or even going back to complete an unfinished course, Jupiter is encouraging you to expand your knowledge while Saturn helps you apply it in a practical way. The more you invest in learning during this retrograde, the more confidence you will feel uh, once the Saturn moves direct. If you have been involved in stock market, speculation, investment, or any area where quick decisions are required, you need to slow down and review everything very carefully. The fifth house rules speculation. Saturn never likes impulsive risk. This is the time to analyze, research, and make informed decisions rather than chasing fast profits. Likewise, if you have been working on a book, a course, a business idea, or any creative project, revisit it, improve it, and refine it. Saturn rewards quality, not the quantity. For those planning to have children, for those already raising the children, this retrograde may bring great responsibility or important decisions regarding the future of your children. Instead of seeing these responsibility as pressure, see them as opportunity to build strong foundation for the years ahead. My advice to Scorpio Ascendant will be, do not measure your progress by how quickly things are happening. Measure it by how strong your foundation is becoming. Saturn helps you turn your talent into mastery, while Jupiter gives you the wisdom to use that talent in the right direction. If you are willing to stay patient and committed, the work you are doing the work you're going to do in these 138 days can shape your future into a very meaningful way and will give you amazing, amazing progress in those areas. Let's talk about Sagittarius Ascendant. Saturn is retrograding in your fourth house, and the next 138 days, your focus is naturally going to shift towards your home, family, emotional security, and the foundation on which your life is built. The fourth house is much more than just property or real estate. It's your inner peace, your relationship with your mother, your home environment, your emotional well being, and the place where you feel safe. Saturn is now asking you a very simple question. Is the foundation of your life strong enough to support the future you are trying to build right now? Ever since Saturn entered Pisces, you may have experienced changes at home. Some of you may have shifted houses, taken on greater family responsibilities, dealt with property matters, or simply realized that your peace of mind has become more important than running after external success. Saturn has been teaching you that if your inner world is unstable, your outer achievement won't feel satisfying. During this retrograde, it is asking you to review everything connected to your home and emotional life before it moves into Aries. If there have been misunderstandings with the family members, unresolved property matters, or emotional conversation that you have been avoiding, this is the time to deal with them with patience. Saturn does not like unfinished business. I want you to resolve issues instead of carrying them forward. If you are planning to buy, sell, or renovate a property, take your time, review every detail, and avoid making decisions in hurry. A little extra patience now can save you from the bigger complications later. Now, let's talk about the Jupiter's ninth aspect, which is directly on the Saturn from the eighth house. This tells me that emotional healing and transformation are deeply connected to this transit. You may finally understand old family patterns, childhood experiences, or emotional wounds that have been quietly influenced your decisions for years. Instead of reacting emotionally, I'll say you should begin to respond with greater maturity and wisdom. Jupiter is helping you heal from the inside, while Saturn is helping you create stability on the outside. Financially, this is also a good time to review home related expenses, loans, mortgages, or long term financial commitments connected with property. Don't ignore paperwork, legal documents, or pending responsibilities. Saturn rewards careful planning, especially when it comes to long term assets. This transit is also reminding you to look after your emotional health. Many Sagittarius ascendants are focused on the next adventure that they forget to slow down and ask themselves whether they are actually at peace. Saturn is encouraging you to create a routine that supports your mental well being, spend quality time with your loved ones, and build home environment that genuinely recharges you instead of draining you. So my advice to Sagittarius Ascendant is don't spend these next 138 days trying to control everything happening outside you. Focus on strengthening what's happening inside your house and inside your heart. When your emotional foundation becomes stronger, every other area of life becomes easier to manage. Saturn is preparing the roots of your life because only strong roots can support long term growth. All the best to Sagittarius Ascendants. Let's talk about Capricorn Ascendant. Saturn is retrograding in your third house, and over the next 138 days, you are going to be asked to rethink the way you communicate, make decisions, learn new skills, and take action. The third house is the house of courage, communication, self efforts, younger siblings, short journeys, marketing, content creation, and the skills that help you move forward in life. Saturn is asking you one simple question. Are your actions supporting your goal, or they just keep They are just keeping you busy. So make sure you question yourself that whatever actions I'm taking, are those actions actually supporting my goals? Ever since Saturn entered Pisces, you have probably realized that success isn't about doing more, it is about doing the right things consistently. Some of you may have started learning a new skill, building a business, creating content, or working on a project that requires regular efforts. Others may have noticed changes in their relationship with siblings or people they interact with every day. Even it can be your neighbors also, or it can be your acquaintance also. Saturn has been teaching you that your future is shaped by your daily actions. And now, during this retrograde, it's asking you to review those actions uh, before you move ahead. This is an excellent time to improve the way you communicate. Think before you speak. Read important emails twice. Sending them Before you send them, I would suggest please read them twice and be very clear in your conversation, especially at work. If you are involved in writing, teaching, sales, social media, or any field where communication is important, use this retrograde to refine your message instead of constantly creating something new. Sometimes improving one skill can take much more further than learning five one at a time. So focus on one thing, whichever thing it is. Either you are working on your skills related to communication, enhancing your communication skills, or learning to create content. Please hold on to one thing and work constantly towards it. Now let's talk about Jupiter, which is casting the ninth aspect directly on Saturn from your seventh house of partnership and relationship. This tells me that people around you will play a major role in your growth during this period. A business partner, spouse, mentor, or even a client may offer valuable advice that change your perspective. Saturn wants disciplined efforts, while Jupiter is reminding you that you don't have to build everything alone. The right collaboration can open doors that hard work alone cannot. If you have been planning to launch a project, start a YouTube channel, write a book, learn a language, or develop a new professional skill, don't worry if things move slower than expected. Use this time to revise, improve, and strengthen your work. Saturn always rewards preparation. When you refine during this retrogression, you will have much more stronger impact on Saturn once it moves direct. Your relationship with your siblings, younger siblings especially, or close relatives may also require attention. Old misunderstandings could resurface, or you may simply, realize certain conversation needs to happen. Handle them with patience and maturity instead of reacting impulsively. My advice to Capricorn Ascendant is don't underestimate the power of small, consistent action. The habit you build, the skill you improve, the conversation you have during these 138 days will shape opportunity that comes your way in the future. Saturn is teaching you that confidence does not come from talking about your dreams. It comes from showing up every single day and doing the same work again and again, while Jupiter is making sure that your effort leads you to the right direction. So do not miss this opportunity. This is a beautiful opportunity for each and every one that Saturn is getting retrograde for next 138 days. Now let's talk about Aquarius ascendants. Saturn is retrograding in your second house, and over the next 138 days, your biggest focus is going to be your finances, your family, your speech, and the values that guides your decisions. The second house is not just about money sitting in your bank account. It represents the way you earn, the way you save, the way you speak, your family responsibility, and foundation of your financial security. Saturn is asking you a very important question. Are you managing your resources wisely, or are you simply reacting to life as it comes and taking very impulsive decisions in regards to or related to your finances? Ever since Saturn entered Pisces, you have probably become much more aware of your financial responsibilities. Some of you may have started budgeting, some may have taken on additional family responsibilities, while others may have realized that earning money is one thing, but managing it wisely is completely different skill. Saturn has been teaching you the value of financial discipline. Now, during this retrograde, it's asking you to review everything before you move forward. This is one of the best time to sit down and honestly look at your finances, review your income, your expenses, your investments, and your savings. Ask yourself whether your money is working for your future or disappearing on things that don't really matter. Saturn does not stop wealth from coming into your life, but it expects you to respect every rupee you earn. If you have been avoiding financial planning, this retrograde will encourage you to create strong and more realistic strategy. Now let's talk about Jupiter, which is casting its ninth aspect directly on Saturn from the sixth house. This tells me that your financial growth is closely connected to your daily work, your skills, your disciplines. The more organized you become in your daily routine, the more stable your finances will become. Jupiter is also reminding you that improving your skills, serving others well, and maintaining a healthy work ethic will eventually increase your earning potential. This isn't the time to look for shortcuts. It's time to become so good at what you do that opportunity naturally begin to find you. Second house is also the house which governs speech, so be mindful of the words you use during this retrograde. Sometimes one careless sentence can create misunderstandings that take months to repair. Speak thoughtfully, especially with your family members, colleagues, and people you care about. Saturn teaches that words carry responsibility, and this is a good time to communicate with patience instead of reacting emotionally. Family matters may also require your attention. Old decisions around finances, responsibilities, or shared commitments could resurface. Instead of avoiding them, use this period to bring clarity and create practical solutions. Saturn always supports honest conversations backed by action. So, action is extremely important when Saturn is retrograde, or when Saturn is in any way, Saturn is involved. Majorly in the dasha or the transit or the major transit is happening. My advice to Aquarius Ascendant is build wealth slowly, speak wisely, and make decisions based on long term stabilities rather than short term comforts. The financial habits, the family decisions, and personal value you strengthen during these next 138 days will become the foundation of your future. Saturn is teaching you that true abundance isn't just about how much you earn, it's about how wisely you manage what you already have. All the best, Aquarius Ascendants. Let's talk about Pisces Ascendant. This Saturn retrograde is all about you. It is your transit because it is happening in your first house. This is one of the most important transit you will experience this year because the first house represents your personality, your health, your confidence, your physical body, your identity, and the direction your life is taking. Whenever Saturn transits, the ascendant sign or the first house, life naturally becomes more serious. You start looking at yourself differently during this retrograde Saturn, because it is asking you one thing: have you truly become the person you are trying to be, or you are still holding on to the older version of yourself? So this is a very important transit for Pisces Ascendant. Ever since Saturn entered Pisces, you probably noticed that life has demanded much more maturity from you. Some of you have taken greater responsibility, some have changed the way they live, and many of you have felt like life has become slower than usual. That's because Saturn isn't interested in giving quick results. It's interested in building a strong version of you, one step at a time. Now, during this retrograde, it's asking you to stop for a moment and review how much you have actually grown over the couple of years. This is an excellent time to look at your habits, your mindset, even the way you present yourself to the world. Ask yourself whether your daily routine supports the future you want. Ask future you want. Are you taking care of your health? Are you keeping your promises to yourself and even to others? Are you living according to your values, or are you still seeking approval from others? Saturn wants complete honesty, because real growth only begins when you are willing to see yourself as you truly are. Now let's talk about Jupiter's ninth aspects, which is directly on Saturn from your fifth house. This is a beautiful combination, actually, because while Saturn is helping you become disciplined, Jupiter is helping you stay hopeful. It brings creativity, wisdom, emotional balance into Saturn's lesson. You may discover new passion, reconnect with your creativity, or gain a deeper understanding of your purpose. If you are learning something new, teaching others, or working on a creative project, Jupiter will help you see possibilities where you once saw limitations. Relationship may also change during this period, not because Saturn wants to separate you from people, but because you have changed. As you become more mature, you'll naturally outgrow certain friendship, habits, or even the environment. Don't be afraid of that. Growth often requires, creating space for people and opportunities that are more aligned with the person you are becoming and with the higher goals you have set for yourself. Health is another area that deserves attention. The first house rules your physical body. So listen to what your body is telling you. Improve your sleep, eat well, exercise regularly, and don't ignore signs of stress or exhaustion. Saturn rewards discipline, and the habits you build now will continue benefiting you long after this retrograde ends. My advice will be for the Pisces is don't spend next 138 days trying to change the world around you. Focus on changing yourself. When your mindset becomes stronger, your habit becomes healthier, and your confidence comes from within instead of outside validation, every other area of life begin to improve naturally. Saturn is preparing you for the next chapter of your life, and Jupiter is making sure this journey does not just make you strong, it also makes you wiser. So all the best for Pisces ascendants, and thank you everyone